Hello everyone, I am Prepper Princess, the author of Living on Almost Nothing. If you're interested in purchasing this book, I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description box below. In 2020 and 2021, the internet went ablaze with warnings of food shortages. Personally, the only shortage I have seen since 2020 was the shortage of course, toilet paper, which was simply resolved by my purchase of a bidet. However, this is not to say that shortages are not taking place in other parts of the country. A recent article published by the Wall Street Journal, it indicates that electricity shortage warnings are growing across the United States. Electric grid operators all around the country are warning that power generating capacity is struggling to keep up with demand. This could possibly lead to rolling blackouts during heat waves or other peak periods as soon as this year, and it may become worse over time as the population continues to grow without the required upgrades of electrical infrastructure needed in order to meet the demands of that larger population of people. Right now, California's grid operators say that it anticipates a shortfall in supplies this summer, especially if extreme heat, wildfires, or delays in bringing new power sources online exacerbate the constraints. A large regional grid that spans much of the Midwest, operated by mid-continent independent system operators, oversees a large regional grid, said that capacity shortage may force it to take emergency measures in order to meet summer demand, and it's flagging the risk of outages. The same thing is happening in Texas, where heat waves might create issues with the existing power plants. At this time, traditional power plants are being retired much more quickly than they can be replaced by renewable energy, and we have a battery shortage. Power grids are feeling the strain as the U.S. makes a historic transition from conventional power plants, typically fueled by coal and natural gas, to cleaner forms of energy like wind and solar power. And aging nuclear plants are slated for retirement in many parts of the country. The cheapest forms of power generation and wind and solar, but they don't produce enough electricity at all times, and they require large batteries to store their output, and that's for later use. Regional grid operators are warning that the pace may not be fast enough to offset the closures of these power plants that have the ability to run around the clock. Due to supply chain issues and inflation, the building of these renewable energy plants, as well as the batteries, has become extremely difficult. Here in the Southwest, Lake Mead is at its lowest level on record. The water in this lake is used to generate power for Hoover Dam, which in turn supplies power to 1.3 million people. It also supplies water to 25 million people, yet no water restrictions are in place for personal residences or businesses, as the laws and regulations are dictated by each city and county individually. The chief operating officer of the California Independent System states that before we retire the old systems, we must first have sufficient new resources to put in place and have them operational. Otherwise, we are putting ourselves at risk of having completely insufficient capacity. These shortages also create a couple of very important questions. The first question is, what happens to me when the power goes out during the hottest part of the summer during a heat wave in the middle of the Mojave Desert? Fortunately, I am a prepper, and I do have all precautions taken care of to ensure that if the electricity goes out where I live, I have the ability to keep my house air conditioned, as well as the refrigerator running. And I can also have the TV and internet on. I have neighbors that have special needs and can take them in if need be, so they do not overheat. The second question is, how will this affect my bill or rates? It is very possible that even though utility rates have skyrocketed during the recent inflationary period, they could skyrocket even more if the regular population realizes how important it is for their survival. Do you remember hearing about people in Texas getting a $9,000 bill during the powder outages last year? Well, the same thing could possibly happen if there are rolling blackouts anywhere else in the United States of America. To all of my viewers, I will never spread panic. I would highly recommend getting an off-grid solar generator or a gas generator if you believe that the power will come back on in your area within a short amount of time, like maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and you believe that gas stations will still be able to pump the gas. When it comes to solar generators, I would personally recommend anything that is 1500 watts or larger and it accepts 500 watts of incoming power at the same time, and it has pass-through power. Good ones that I own and use are Energy, FF Power, Alcatel, and Jackery. There are also unknown brands that work just as well, like EcoFlow, To Go, and EBL. Almost all the generators I have reviewed on my channel work equally as well, except for Okmo and Bluetti. Please do not waste your money on the Okmo or Bluetti brand products. They are pieces of junk. Do not panic. Just know that it is something that could happen and you are not immune to it. If this is the case, the proper precautions should be taken place if you want to ensure that your food does not spoil, that you have entertainment available to you, and you have any necessary heating or cooling taken care of. If these problems do happen over the next few years, while the transition from dirty energy turns into clean energy nationwide, it will take time and we all need to be prepared for these eventualities. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out. Exacerbate. 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 Exacerbate? Exacerbate. I'm going to mess that up. I've tried it 3 times already. Exacerbate. There's got to be a different word. What, you all tuckered out now? You all tuckered out? Now you don't want to play, huh? You. Oh, oh. Look at that ear. Look at that ear. What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? Oh. I ain't afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. Oh.